Hello, my name's Grace. I'm a Cloud Solutions Architect. In fact, I head up the Cloud Solutions Architecting team in EMEA. My role is to actually obviously help unblock customers and get them onto using Google Cloud services as quickly as we can. And I'd like to introduce you to Louise.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Louise. I'm a Global Director here at Google Cloud. I'm in the Learning Services team, and I'm responsible for our business operations and scale functions.
Okay. Welcome to our live Q&A, where Louise and I are here to answer any questions you might have on cloud skills and technologies, i.e. the skills enterprises need to equip themselves in this strange new world we find ourselves in. It's pretty strange now because the sun's straight into my eyes, so sorry about the squinting. We'll be talking about, we'd like to answer questions around the Google Cloud tools and how they can help with collaboration and with transforming business to adapt, and more and about upskilling. We'll try and get through as many questions as we can, but if you haven't yet submitted a question, please do so by using the hashtag Google Cloud Next Live QA. Sorry it's so long. With that, we'll kick off with our first question. Okay, and we have one from Twitter from Mario. What trends are you seeing in people upskilling? What technology areas are you seeing the most growth? Louise, this is definitely one for you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And great question, Mario. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely seeing an acceleration of trends this year, right? I mean, trends that were already starting to happen in terms of move to on-demand learning, really accelerated. I mean, people are talking about what we were expecting to happen in the space of kind of 5 years being compressed into 5 weeks earlier on this year, and we definitely felt it. But these were trends that were happening already. So I'll talk a little bit to some of the key trends that we have seen, both on how people are consuming training and also some of the content trends as well, which I think was the second part of your question. So in terms of how people are consuming training, we are definitely seeing huge acceleration and appetite for on-demand learning. We, as Google Cloud Learning Services, serve up our training content via partner platforms like Coursera and Pluralsight. So you can access our on-demand content there, all seeing huge growth. The other thing that we believe very strongly in is what we call experiential learning, right? So you have to, in order to become, to gain the expertise required, you really have to have that hands-on experience. And a key way of doing this through a training environment is through an offering we call hands-on labs. And that sits on top of a platform called Quick Labs. So those labs are embedded into our course offerings that you find on Coursera and Pluralsight. And we also have a complementary standalone catalog of labs that you can consume to complement your on-demand learning, or as I say, just kind of bite-sized learning in of itself. I think one of the big trends we've seen on top of that platform is something, to be honest, I was probably a bit skeptical about a year ago when we were talking about bringing this live. I was like, oh, there probably wouldn't be that much of an appetite for it, but I was proven wrong, which is the whole area of gamified learning. People, technical practitioners, developers love to learn in a gamified way. And we launched gamified learning under the brand Cloud Hero. There's a few different Cloud Hero events running here at Next EMEA. So if you haven't already logged on or tried those, please do so. But yeah, hugely popular. I mean, that's been a definite trend. I think the other thing that we've seen is that while on demand and the learning that you can just kind of look at in your own time has definitely accelerated. Instructor-led training is not dead, right? There is still huge demand for what we call traditional classroom training or instructor-led training. What has changed, obviously, this year is doing that in a virtual format, which before would have been more kind of edge case, like a customer, maybe you had teams in different locations and wanted them to go through instructor-led training together, would have done it using a platform like Google Meet, and an instructor there available for that kind of bidirectional engagement as they're going through the learning. But that was definitely the edge case. Those 5 weeks over kind of March, April, early May timeframe just absolutely transformed how instructor-led training is delivered from being that in-person classroom to virtual. So I think overall, in terms of trends, what I would say is that definitely the move to the virtual space, which is pretty obvious, but I think also people being a lot more, and organizations being a lot more intentional about what type of training they're consuming and when, right? So it doesn't always have to be instructor-led, or it doesn't always have to be on demand, but picking and choosing based on the types of people or teams or departments they're looking to train, the types of skills that they're looking for those teams to get. So really shaking it up. And on the content side, I know I've spoke for quite a bit, so I'll keep this bit quite tight. The appetite or demand for our infrastructure courses is still super high, as you would expect. On the data and ML side, also very, very high. We launched earlier this year a DevOps certification, and we've seen a huge trend in terms of appetite for that one as well. So yeah, overall, I think lots of very clear trends around people want to keep learning, they want to keep training, they want to keep having that ongoing learning experience, but in a way that works for them and their organizations. Awesome. I think we are on to the next question. I think I've answered everything I could on that one. Okay. So question, we must use innovation to make our economic systems sustainable. This is an opportunity for companies to rethink how they operate. But what are the challenges they will face in moving from old infrastructure to new ones? What are the main obstacles to an innovative and sustainable transition? And how can cloud theory help to overcome them? Grace, I think this is definitely one for you.
Yeah, so in my role, part of my job has been to help customers overcome these challenges. It's a hot topic, the combination of sustainability and actually kind of moving to the cloud. Now, moving to the cloud, there's actually a very big people aspect to it as well. But I'm going to just focus on the infrastructure stuff, and I'll probably call you back in, Louise, to talk about some of the challenges around people, because obviously that's where it all starts. So when it comes to migrating to the cloud, you need to plan. Okay, so you can't shortcut the planning. You have to do planning even when you're doing stuff to stay on-prem anyway, so there's nothing new about that. You need to have a baseline security first organization configuration, so you need to think about security, okay? Don't cut corners. You need to get your cloud foundation as close to meeting how you operate for a successful migration across. And we have some foundation blueprints to help you as a good start. Think about what that midway state will look like, because you will be operating both on premises and on the cloud at the same time, okay? So you're going to have to think about how you structure your teams. Are you going to have a cloud center of excellence, which I would highly recommend? And, maybe use partners. You can also use partners to help you in terms of also making use of the technologies you already use on-prem. So Palo Alto Networks is an example of how you can use their solutions as on-prem and in the cloud. Build upon the skills your employees already have, okay? So, it's the technology changes. Yes, there are challenges, but I think they're minor compared to the people ones, okay? Think about the way you architecture your application. So think about designing for failure, okay? And getting used to testing both your DR strategy and robustness of your deployment. I'm a fan of chaos engineering, but I know it's a big step to adopt that. Having a robust migration plan is important. Identifying dependencies can be the hardest part when planning out what needs to migrate and what doesn't. Okay, coming back to the question, what are the main obstacles to an innovative and sustainable transition? Okay, you can do things like adopting serverless solutions to get to market quickly and reducing the operational overhead that you probably have now. This does require thinking differently about how you approach designing solutions. If you're going to adopt scalability, so you're only using an elasticity, so you're only using the compute that you need when you need it, that does require a different mindset. Think about how you manage costs, quotas, and billing alerts. As on the demand nature means that your costs may go up and down. It's a great question, and I can wax lyrical for quite a while on this, but I just want to go back to Louise so that she can talk about some of the challenges for your people and how that works. So following on from your last question, Louise.
Yeah, thanks, Grace. Yeah, so I think exactly spot on. When we look at when we think about what it takes to move over a new infrastructure, we need to address a number of pillars. It's not just a technology transformation that's happening, right? But to Grace's point, it's definitely a people one as well. Actually, within Google Cloud, we have done a lot of thinking on this, and we have developed a framework called the Google Cloud Adoption Framework, which says there's 3 pillars that you really need to think about, which is the people, the process, and the technology. So my area of expertise is on people. So maybe I'll talk just a little bit, wax lyrical, to use Grace's comment on that one for a moment. When we think about the people piece, we have to think about the change management. You also have to think about the upskilling and the reskilling. And I think one of the things that we found in the most successful companies that have handled this change successfully is that they have really invested in training early on, and not just training technical staff, but also the business people as well. Those people who are, maybe program managers or line of business owners, or even in many organizations when it's a real transformation, right up to board level. And the reason training the business people is equally important to overcoming challenges and ensuring success in this transformation is that it's by business and technical and engineering teams all working together. They can really understand what are those types of opportunities that they can take advantage of, and they will all have a common language to communicate and to think about what are these opportunities going forward. So when we talk about like our training offering, for example, we have training for both the business profiles within an organization and also the technical folks as well, as you would expect. I think maybe one final bit to share on this is that IDC has done a study, and we quoted a lot internally, on the importance of investing in people and investing in training early on in any move to the cloud or any big change in your infrastructure like this. And what they found in their study was that companies that did invest were much faster moving to the cloud. I think it was about 80% faster, was, if going by memory, was what they said, and 2 times more likely to move beyond limited deployment. So that people aspect is super, super critical as well. If you invest time in that up front, I think you'll be able to overcome a lot of the challenges that you may face in this journey. Cool. Okay. I think the next question. Yeah, Grace. Let me just see what can come up here. Okay. So this is from Neil Thompson. Another question is the substitutability or elasticity of applications on GCP. We need to augment a constellation of different applications constantly. How do you support the flexing of our infrastructure in a secure way? So yeah, Grace, I think this is another one for you.
Okay, right. So just because you are adopting elasticity, so scaling in and scaling out, that shouldn't make any difference to your security first approach. Designing for scale doesn't mean compromising on security. Everything you design should have a security first mindset. Encryption at rest and in transit are default modes. Follow our best practices. Use our growing collection of security blueprints to get prescriptive guidance and templates. You should take advantage of the various security controls, such as VPC service controls, to help manage exfiltration. If you do not have to expose your app publicly, don't do so. Use a security command center to monitor security-related events. Set up alerts against a cloud asset inventory feed to advise of changes to the assets in your cloud organization. So basically, it's business as usual, whether it's a scalable application that's flexed in and out, or whether it's like a single VM. Okay. Thanks, Louise.
Thank you, Grace. Okay, I think we have another Twitter question coming up.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Waiting for it. There we go. This is another one from Neil Thompson again, I think. I'd like to learn how we can bridge the gap between learning materials you provide, which is awesome, by the way. So thank you for that. I'll give feedback back to the content team, and the industrial application. So yeah, like another great question. Maybe I can take the first bit of that and then maybe hand over to you, Grace. So yeah, I mean, I think when we think about our learning materials, and in particular when we think about our certifications, Our design philosophy when it comes to Google Cloud certifications is that they show proficiency and deep understanding of the roles that you are getting your certification for. So, for example, the Cloud Architect certification. The intent of those certifications is not that you can pass them just by doing some training, right? So it's not like you do training, you pass the certification. If you actually look at our certifications criteria on our website, it talks about the importance of practical expertise. So how we talk about training as part of this narrative is that training is a necessary but not sufficient condition to get to that state of proficiency. And why this is super important is because we want to ensure that when customers are looking at their teams or looking at hiring people who are certified, that they have a real strong level of confidence in what that actually means in terms of their ability to really work on Google Cloud Platform. So yeah, training definitely part of the mix, but it's not all the story. So in terms of like the practical types of things you can do to top up the training, I'll probably hand over to Grace on this point.
Okay, so the training material is there to get you familiar with the tools and services, so you're in a position to understand the technology to be applied to your use case. Practice and lean on your community, which can include your account team, our professional services team and our partners, and work through the detail of your use case and help reduce the friction that is the fastest way to get past that. I now understand the technology, but I need to apply it to my real life situation. Okay. So one of the things my team does is document how you can implement our products into solutions. We have some examples on our product pages with code examples up in GitHub. They're always worth looking at. Yeah, I know it's a shameless plug. Okay, there's a nice example for label detection for videos, and I do hope you found that as a first step when working on your use case. I'd just like to stress this because, we are driven by what our customers are asking us to make things easier to do. I'm not to do, so we listen to you. So if we haven't seen this before, then we will look it up. And a lot of us are available on Twitter. I'm out there as well, and we do try and direct you to people who can help if you can't get by your accounting. So I have to say I'm not quite sure about the new working environment angle, but I'm assuming the fact that a majority of people in our industry are now working from home. But we at Google Cloud have adapted to still provide collaborative ways of working with our customers, not only using tools like Workspace itself, formerly G Suite, but tools like Meet and Jamboard to do those whiteboard sessions. Yeah, so I hope that's helped, and I'm looking forward to see how your application looks on us, to be honest. Thanks. Okay, we've got another question about knowledge. How do I go about showing evidence of my knowledge in Google Cloud? What types of certifications does Google Cloud offer, and how do I go about getting one? It's another one for you, Louise.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So certifications is a topic I'm very, very passionate about. So yeah, obviously I spoke to some of this in the previous answers, so I won't spend too much time repeating. But in a nutshell, as I said, our philosophy is all about these certifications that we have are to show evidence of proficiency in the role that you have got the certification in, right? So it's more than just the training. So literally just the question we just answered. But maybe just to add a little bit more detail on I think some of the types of certifications and how you go about getting one. We have 10 different certifications. We have an associate cloud engineer, and then we have an additional about 8 professional certifications. And then we have one as well for Workspace, the user certification. So within the professional certifications, huge range. So they range from a collaboration engineer, which is someone who understands how to go and be the systems admin around the Workspace suite of products, right up to ML engineers. So you can find lots of information on our website on those. They are very well recognized in the industry. I'll do kind of a shout out for the Cloud Architect Professional certification. That has been recognized 2 years in a row independently as being the highest paid IT certification in the market. So definitely very, very well recognized. I think on top of the certifications, the one other thing I did want to call out when it comes to kind of showing evidence of your knowledge and skills is that earlier this year, we launched a range of what we call skills badges. And the idea with these skills badges is that they are about showing very specific skill sets. So if we think of like the certifications as being based on roles, and showing that you're proficient in a type of role for the cloud environment, the skills badges are very targeted on specific skill sets. So for example, how you would deploy and manage in a cloud environment. These skills badges can be taken in a number of ways. They can be taken as kind of stop points on your way to certifications. So sometimes people will, we have recommended learning paths that kind of say, oh, if you're going for this certification, here's some of the training we suggest you take along the way. Here's some of the skills badges to kind of really test your knowledge along the way and see if you're ready for the next step. So that's one way that skills badges are being used. Another is complementary to certification. So people may already have a certification, but they just want to show some proficiency or gain expertise in one of the other specific skill sets to complement what they already have. Or the third way is literally as a standalone. You're going in, you have a very specific expertise need that you need to develop and to show proficiency in, and you can go in and take the badge and just that. So those skills badges launched earlier this year, but huge take up. I mean, even we've been blown away by how people are engaging with those. And to the final part of the question, how do I go about getting one? I think exactly what we mentioned earlier. We do have on our website suggested learning paths, which call out the training, the labs, the skills badges you can take on this journey. But practice. Like, just make sure as well that you don't underinvest time on the platform itself as well. So yeah. With that, I think I have done that question to death. So next question.
And it's another one for you, Louise. Everyone wants to learn training. It's great. Next question is, I have completed already many quick lab quests. Should I still get a certification?
Great to see so many questions on certification and skills. Thank you for all of these. So I mean, I think it really depends on where you're trying to get to personally, right? So to the point that I've spoke to on the previous answers, certifications are all about showing a very high level of expertise in a particular role in cloud. And those quick labs quests, or what we've now offered this year as well, the skills badges, can be steps on that journey to certification, right? But it's not what you must do one and then you must do the other. It really depends on where you are in your learning journey and where you want to get to in terms of your level of expertise in cloud. So we would always recommend that someone gets a certification. Certification is the highest bar that you can have. It's industry recognized, to the earlier point. But don't, and not to think that, oh, I've done a quest, therefore I don't need a certification. No, think of them as being steps on that journey, or something that complements a certification. Cool. I think I've done certifications. Next question. Do I need to learn containers, or should I focus on serverless? So Grace.
I guess that's one for me. It depends. It really does. I mean, you can't go wrong with learning how to actually containerize your application. It gives you a lot of flexibility. Serverless, some would say that, containerized applications are part of the serverless group, so you look at App Engine, you look at Cloud Run, you all know which both use containers. Then you've got Cloud Functions, that are just small amounts of code that for event processing. So all of these are actually serverless to a certain extent. It's just the way how you deliver that code. So it does depend, but my personal view is you should learn how to do containers. It actually gives you a step towards that serverless nirvana. And remember, not all applications fit into that serverless paradigm. This is another one that you can like debate over a few coffees for hours and hours. So I'm going to stop there on that one, and we'll go on to the next question. Right. So the next question is, I run a creative agency, and my team is used to working closely together in the same room. As we're now working remotely, how can I maintain my team's vibe and effectiveness? Louise, I mean, we're obviously doing this together. I don't know if you want to start and, and share our experiences, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one as well, Grace. I mean, I think this is something that everyone is experiencing right at the moment. I think in Google, we're relatively fortunate in that we, even pre-COVID, were very used to working in virtual teams and trying to create that culture and energy and ability to innovate in a virtual space. I mean, I can, even just talking for my team, I think as I mentioned in the intro, I've got a global role. My team kind of spans from Singapore to California. So we have to do an awful lot of stuff virtually, even before COVID. But I do think that, the last few months have really brought a whole load of additional dimensions to the challenge as well, because even previously, you could get together for an offsite a couple of times a year, or subgroups could meet up, or, we'd get together in regional hubs and that kind of thing. So I can share maybe some tips from my perspective, but again, Grace, would love you to chime in. The first one, cannot overstate the importance of using collaborative tools. Obviously workspaces out there. We use obviously docs, slides, Meet, Gmail, like all the different tools. It makes a huge difference. And it's not just even about what I found. It's not just even about the ability to be productive and everyone kind of working together in this virtual way, but it also really fosters a culture of transparency and trust, right? Which is super important. So people having visibility into documents that maybe, in the old world was an attachment and only certain people got to see it. Everyone kind of being able to get visibility to documents, working it together, really builds up transparency. So that's something that I just can't even imagine trying to work in this.
Exactly. And I'd like to make a call out to chat. My team is spread over Europe, and it's like our place that we can have those coffee side chats. It's not the same, but just quickly, it helps give us that sense of community as well. I have to say, I just want to mention about the whole thing about docs. That I remember the first time I used docs, and to see somebody in that doc at the same time as you, it's like, it's quite scary. Anyway, I am conscious of the fact that we're running out of time. I don't know if we can squeeze in one more question. Don't know.
Okay. Let me take this one, or at least ask this one. So you talked about security and infrastructure at one of the other next sessions. What security challenges do you see from a work from home or more mobile workforce? And are there new threats developing that we can prepare for? That's from Diego. Yeah, Grace, I think this is...
There are always new threats, and we don't know what we don't know. But by putting security controls in place and taking advantage of what we offer, it's the best thing to do. We have... So we have things like our Cloud Security Command Center product, for example, that allows you to have a view of what the security status of your Google Cloud organization. We have numerous examples in Google Cloud where we have rolled out a fix to a critical vulnerability, and our customers had to do nothing. In many cases, not even aware that the fix was already in place, till they reached out to our account teams to ask about it. It's a shared responsibility model, though, so we can do our part and the customer can do theirs, and we provide guidance and control to help customers do their bit. Social engineering, is back to the people again, is by far the easiest way to compromise any system, and having a large percentage of your workforce that are not used to work from home presents challenges. Having to design access routes, putting in controls with what devices are allowed to connect, etc., things that are definitely challenging if you didn't have them in place before. But if you didn't know about Beyond Call, which helps simplifies this, you should definitely look at that as a way to address. That aside, a Doctor Workspace is actually it has a variety of security features to help, such as limiting file access so they can't be opened out to anyone, other than the specified recipients. Device and endpoint management also provides with context-aware access. So knowing what action to take against what threats is also challenging. There's the unified security dashboard, which gives you insights and allows you to take action against threats within Workspace. The equivalent for Google Cloud is the security health recommendations. The security health analytics for Google Cloud, so it's security health recommendations of Workspace. So you just need to be more aware, and you just need to be able to think about the attack vectors is essentially what it boils down to. I hope that helped you to think about how you can address a more mobile workforce and more people working from home. Okay, Louise.
Thanks.
I think that was our last question.
Yeah, I think we're right on time. So I just want to kind of wrap up by saying thank you to everyone. Great questions. Thank you for engaging with us. Hopefully we're able to share some tips around innovation and skill building. On the training side, I'm just going to do a shameless plug. If you are looking for more information, go to cloud.google.com/training. And with that, I will also just hand over to Grace to say a final word or two.
Okay. So, the fun doesn't stop here. Be sure to check out our additional Next on Air experiences, including booking a one-to-one with our Google experts at you should see the URL there, goog.gle, Google Experts. Continue your learning journey, g.co/cloud/next-EMEA/devs, and carry on checking out all the other great content at Go Cloud Next EMEA. Thanks for listening to Louise and myself, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the event.